Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a very interesting story coming out here for you. We're going to be talking about Radoslaw Sikorski. He's the foreign minister of Poland. Now, he has come out in an interview recently and stated that the U.S. will strike Russia in Ukraine if nukes are detonated. Now, why is he talking about this? So, Russia right now is doing tactical nuclear war drills near the border of Ukraine. Okay, these are tactical nukes, not strategic nukes. These are nukes that would be used on the battlefield inside of Ukraine, most likely against NATO soldiers. But who knows? Maybe Putin would decide to use these in Ukraine regardless, because their war is obviously not going well. Okay, I've heard a lot in the Kharkiv region that the Russian forces are starting to stall out a little bit. They were taking some land and some villages, but as far as I know, they're not really taking much else at the moment. But they could be advancing a little bit forward, each day, but nothing extreme. So Russia's holding tactical nuclear war drills right on the border of Ukraine right now, and a lot of this is due to provocation statements made from the West. We had reports just about a month ago with UK's Foreign Secretary David Cameron visiting Ukraine and telling Ukraine that they could use British Storm Shadow missiles to strike targets inside of Russian territory. Now we've got talks from Congress in the United States telling the Biden administration to allow Ukraine to strike targets inside Russian territory as well, because right now there's restrictions on these weapons from the Biden administration. So this is obviously a very big inflection point here. And I think we're really going to start to see this war pop off very soon, especially if the Biden administration finally allows Ukraine to strike inside of Russian territory. I think they're going to go ham and really hammer Russia hard near the border of Ukraine once they're able to be able to do this, once they get the permission to. Excuse me. So I want to talk some more about this regarding Radoslaw Sikorski and this statement that he was making in this interview. He was on The Guardian, actually. But we're going to go over this article here on Kiev Independent. It says, Polish foreign minister says U.S. will strike Russian troops in Ukraine if Russia uses nuclear weapons. So this actually just came out today, this article. But I believe the interview was recorded on The Guardian probably several days before, but it was published today. So it says here, Polish foreign minister Radoslaw Sikorski said in an interview published on May 25th that the U.S. has told Russia that if it uses nuclear weapons, there will be an American response using conventional weapons on Russian forces in Ukraine. So look at this. So American response. So the U.S. would strike Russian forces in Ukraine using conventional weapons. Now, not nuclear weapons. So if Russia were to detonate a tactical nuke in Ukraine, that would supposedly activate the United States Air Force, and they would go over there and start bombing Russian targets using conventional weapons, okay, not nukes. These would be conventional bombs. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly made nuclear threats against Ukraine and the West since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in February 2022. The threats have failed to materialize, and Russia continues to wage its all-out war without its nuclear arsenal. The Americans have told the Russians that if you explode a nuke, even if it doesn't kill anybody, we will hit all your targets, which are positions in Ukraine, with conventional weapons. We will destroy all of them, is what he says. So the U.S. will destroy all of their targets, all the Russian targets in Ukraine. Any troops that are there, any headquarters, bases, whatever they've built there on the eastern side of Ukraine, they will destroy everything, is what he is saying. So this is a very major statement coming out from the foreign minister. Sikorski added that both China and India have warned Russia not to use nuclear weapons. And it's no child's play, because that if that taboo of using nuclear weapons were also to be breached, like the taboo of not changing borders by force, China knows that Japan and South Korea would go nuclear. Presumably, they don't want that. Sikorski also said that he supports ending the restrictions of Ukraine's use of Western weapons to hit targets in Russia, echoing similar comments made recently by NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and leading U.S. lawmakers. So I'm hearing that as well, that apparently we've got Radoslaw Sikorski, the gentleman we're talking about today. He's supportive of Ukraine striking targets in Russian territory. And then we've also got reports as well that Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, reiterating the same thing, saying that Ukraine can strike targets in Russian territory. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, just the other day, he said the same thing. Now, a lot of U.S. lawmakers, so Congress members, are coming out and saying the same thing. We also heard that from House Speaker Mike Johnson. He also said that he supported it. So lots and lots of big players here supporting Ukraine, being willing to allow them to strike targets in Russian territory. So I think this is going to be coming pretty soon because there's lots of support building up behind it. So finally, it just says here, while Poland has upped its military spending to 4% of its GDP, Sikorsky said there is still more work to be done, and many other European countries have yet to catch up. Before Russia's full-scale war, Poland mostly focused its defense spending on advanced weapons technology, Sikorsky said. We are only now rediscovering that actually you just need millions of shells. You need large volumes of low-tech stuff as well. It is obvious that Europe is lagging behind, and the EU's defense and technological and industrial base suffers from years of underinvestment. I would agree with that. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Radoslaw Sikorsky is concerned about the underinvestments from NATO nations, especially in Europe, that haven't been producing enough weaponry or, defense for their nations or anything like that. There's a lot of countries that are just not prepared for war right now, and I still think even right now they're still not concerned. Although I think they should be. They're hoping the best that there is no war that breaks out. But obviously, like I said, this is a very big statement towards Russia coming from the foreign minister in Poland. So again, he's stating that the U.S. will strike Russia in Ukraine if nukes are detonated. So if Russia uses any nukes in Ukraine, any tactical nukes are used, even if they don't hit any targets or anybody's hurt by it, but if they find out any kind of tactical nuke is detonated, the U.S. will respond heavily, and it'd basically be war against Russia is what I would think. I'm not sure how Russia would respond to that. Excuse me. If they were to get struck in Ukraine, not necessarily on their own territory, but I think they would respond heavily. I think they would respond most likely with nuclear weapons as well, and this would probably lead to some major escalation and some sort of major war against NATO and Russia. So let me know what you think down below. Very crazy story coming out today. That's going to be it for this update, though. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.